Anytime you have questions. Words there. These guys.
Okay, fine.
Ready?
We can go.
Good afternoon. We will open the Counties of Warren, Washington Industrial Development Agency annual meeting. Ellie, can you take the roll?
John Taflin,
Here.
Trisha Rogers,
Here.
Kevin Mahoney,
Here.
Charlie Tall,
Here.
Mark Yershaw,
Here.
Juan Gonzalez.
Here.
We have a quorum. We have 6 out of 10.
Okay, thank you. So the first order of business at the annual meeting is to elect officers. At last week's executive committee meeting, the executive committee put the following slate of officers recommended for the 2026 year. Chair Juan Gonzalez, Vice Chair John Teflon, Secretary Trisha Rogers, Treasurer Connor McCoy. Is there a motion to approve that slate? Kevin?
Second.
Second. Mark? Is there any discussion on the slate? Hearing none, and all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone
Aye.
opposed? Okay, congratulations.
All right, well, I did have a 20-minute speech prepared, but we'll shorten it down to 2 minutes. So truly appreciate the opportunity. Once again, we have quite a few irons in the fire, and we're excited with the momentum that is happening with the IDA. We're just getting started. I am also personally believe that as a community member should not sit on a board more than 4 or 5 years. So 2027 will be my last year on the IDA board. Just wanted to give the team a heads up on that. After 4 or 5 years, you're either too powerful or too stagnant, and it's not good for the organization. So just always thinking ahead. So we will need a new chair in 2027 or 2027 or 2028, depending on the availability of these wonderful community members that are here. So moving on to number 2, appointment by the chairman of 2 at-large members. Per our bylaws, because our secretary and treasurer are different people, there's actually only needs to be 1 appointment. And we will be appointing Dan Bruno back to the executive committee. Since he's not here to protest that, this is what happens when you don't attend the meeting. No, I'm kidding. He will also be our park chair. And just up for the team reference, as per our bylaws, our executive committee is also our nominating and industrial park committee. So, and also for our bylaws, we have to do a mix of Warren and Washington County members. So having Dan Bruno there will allow us to have 3 Warren County members and 2 Washington County members. And you'll see the 2-3 split here virtually on all our committees. And we take a roll call of a new board member that just arrived for the record.
Yes, for the record, Melissa Finch is now. And I also wanted to mention Connor McCoy is zooming in. He'll be able to take questions and make comments, but he will not be eligible to vote.
And I'll also point out we have 3 guests. We have Bob Holmes, Morocco, Bob Sears.
And Connor is under the weather, and we appreciate him not showing up and getting the rest of us sick. So we thank him for that. All right, moving on with the continuation of committees and appointments. The Auditing and Finance Committee. Auditing and Finance Committee meets at a minimum 1 time per year. We have Connor McCoy as the treasurer. Brian Campbell will remain on the committee as Washington County rep. Mark Yershaw from Warren County. Those are our 3 primary members, treasurer for Washington County and 2 bankers. So that our Audit and Finance Committee is very stout in that regard. And then as per our bylaws, I will remain the alternate there. Moving on to our governance committee, Melissa Finch. This committee actually only meets 1 time per year. And what we also want to do is be able to incorporate that 1 meeting during the executive committee meetings to save everybody time. So the governance committee meeting meets 1 time per year. Adding to that committee is Melissa Finch in Washington County, Kevin Mahoney from Warren County, and Charlie Tall from Washington County. So it's not a big, we do have the committee charter in the online. So for new members, I'll be sending it out to you guys so you can see, and then we can talk about what we want to accomplish for the year. So Those are and then the executive committee is of course the officers of the board, which are the chair, the treasurer Connor, the vice chair John, and the secretary Tricia, as well as the one at-large member Dan Bruno. Any questions up to this point? All right, moving on, appointment of consultants and official newspaper. The agency counsel is Fitzgerald Moore Baker Firth. I would entertain a motion to accept that as our counsel. Mark, second. Charlie? All in favor? Or actually, a second, any discussion first? No? All in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed or abstain? All right, motion carries. You're stuck with us for another year. Agency official newspaper, it was last year where we added the Chronicle. We have had the Post Star for quite a time, and we added the Chronicle. There was some discussion on that, but let's talk about that for a second here. The challenge is the Chronicle is weekly, where the Post Star is 3 times per week. So in order for us to move at the speed of business, it slows us down because you can't just meet the requirement of one. If you're gonna have 2 newspapers, you have to meet the requirement of both newspapers. So there is, at the speed of business, there is a slowdown there. In addition, I believe that, depending on who you talk to, they reach the same audience. So there could be some redundancy here. So I, would like to just have a discussion on where the board would like to see us go with the official newspaper of the agency. Yes, ma'am.
I think the Chronicle gets the largest reader group at this point in time.
Good point.
What is there objective to get the readers or to get the posting up for those who find postings? Because I think Melissa's right, they probably have more curious readers. So who's their target? Maybe
Just, so
the obligatory postings,
we have to post by law.
right?
So it's a
Legal
legal
requirement.
So we still use the Post Star for county because it gives you the flexibility of multiple days. And it's a legal requirement to post. Rarely does anyone come back and have questions about anything like that.
Do they, is there a difference between a digital post online versus paper that somebody has it?
Digital posting does not count for our legal requirement.
By New York State law,
Yes,
and that hasn't changed.
correct.
And we have, and the cost of having 2 agencies, that cost is sent over to the business that is submitting the application.
Yeah, you're paying for both.
And sometimes the delay will be up to 2 weeks, because if we have a meeting on Monday, we don't get it in the clock by Tuesday, and we have to wait till the next cycle.
Follow.
So the inefficiency is a real issue.
I recommend we drop the Chronicle and just go to the
Entertain a motion to the agency's official newspaper be the Post Star. Melissa, second. John. Any discussion? Final discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstained? All right, motion carries. Good. All right, agency's official depository, Arrow Bank, we got it right this year. Last year we were corrected that we had it as false. So, again, if you have pre-discussions, anybody would like to open it up to the staff first before we have a discussion on the board? Any?
I have no concerns.
All good here?
All right, so with that, I will entertain a motion to accept the agency's official depository as Arrow Bank. First, Charlie, second, Tricia, discussion, anybody? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstain? Mark, you shall abstain.
I think I just, we lose a quorum.
We lose it, yes. We lose the call.
We're all customers.
We're all-
Yeah, they're all customers. And we are too, and I don't think that's technically required.
Good.
Thank you.
So
I'll
you
be done.
good with voting? Good. All right. Motion carries. Great. Thank you. All right, moving on to the annual review ratification of policies. You see the A to O. Is there any specific policy that the team There's a lot of reading. I understand that. Appreciate everybody's diligence with that. Is there any particular policy that you'd like to discuss? None. With that, I will entertain a motion to accept the policies of the IDA as they are. Mark, second. Kevin. Any discussion? Final discussions? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstain? Motion carries. Great. With that, is there any other legal business that come before the agency? If not, I will adjourn the meeting at 4:02 p.m. Entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting at 4:02 p.m. Tricia, second. Kevin, all in favor? Aye. All right, we're adjourned. Thank you. I just so formal here, Melissa, we are. All right, one more, CDC.
Okay, we'll open the meeting of the counties of Warren and Washington Civic Development Corporation.
That's right, John.
Ally, can you please fix the roll?
Yes, Don Taplin,
Here.
Trisha Rogers,
Here.
Kevin Mahoney,
Here.
Charlie Tall,
Here.
Melissa Fitch,
Here.
Mark Yershaw,
Here.
Juan Gonzalez.
Here.
We have a quorum. We have 7 out of 10.
Great, thank you. So at last week's executive committee meeting, the executive committee approved a slate of officers to serve for the 2026 year. Those officers are Chair Juan Gonzalez, Vice Chair John Teflon, Secretary Trisha Rogers, Treasurer Connor McCoy. So is there a motion to approve this slate of officers and the recommendation of the executive committee? Evan, first, second, Mark. Are there any discussions? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion is carried. Congratulations.
All right, back at it. Can I just say that we can make a motion to approve everything
You can.
as the same as the IDA?
Thank you.
All right, we will run a slate of all of the same appointments as we just had for the IDA for the CDC. I will entertain the motion to accept the full slate. Charlie, second. Kevin, discussion on any of the motions? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstaining?
Just the depository.
Mark, you're so depository. Abstain at the deposit. All right, motion carries. Are there any other legal businesses that may come before the agency? If not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn the CDC meeting at 4:04 p.m. Mark, second. Charlie, all in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Let's stay with us. One more, John. One more. All right. Here we go. The real meeting then. I call to order the counties of Warren and Washington Industrial Development Agency meeting on February 17th, 2026 at 4:04 p.m. May I get a roll call, please, Ally?
John Taplin.
Here.
Trisha Rogers. Kevin Mahoney. Charlie Tall.
Here.
Melissa Fitch.
Here.
Mark Yershaw.
Here.
Juan Gonzalez.
Here.
We have a quorum. We have 7 out of 10.
Great, 7 out of 10. On your reading packet on page 10 of the read ahead is the minutes of the January 20th board meeting. I will entertain a motion to accept the meeting minutes. Charlie, second. Kevin? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstaining? Hearing none, motion carries. Great, we'll turn it over to our treasurer who is online with us with the read ahead starting on page 2.
All right, sounds good. Can everyone hear me well?
Yes.
All right, excellent. So reviewing the balance sheet, I went into pretty good depth trying to just get an understanding of this. So a lot of this, some people might know, but I wanted to point out a handful of balance sheet items and income statement items. So balance sheet remains strong. Overall, the balance sheet is stable with minor offsets and cash balances related to the lease receivables and deferred inflows of resources. That is tied to the Hewitt and CHPE relationship last year. You'll see that those are substantially down this year from $506,000 for the lease receivable to $22,000 this year. You can kind of see right where that hit us with the cash. So good movement there. So speaking of the cash, majority of the cash sits in a safe and strategic ICS account, which distributes funds. Just so people don't know what ICS is, It distributes funds across many different banks to remain under the 250,000 FDIC insurance limit, ensuring all funds are fully insured. The account is currently yielding at 3.74%. This most likely moves with the market, and the mark is trending downwards. So later on, you'll see in the profit and loss statement some income that we receive. Most likely, that's going to continue to trend downwards as the year goes on. Only other balance sheet item I want to point out to some people who might have been looking at it was there is a line item for due to other government. That is essentially just a pass-through account that we have for the pilot program. Essentially, we receive funds for the pilot and it gets paid out through that account to the counties. So it's showing that we're at 14,000 now. That money's just sitting there, going to be going out the door pretty soon. Additionally, Chuck pointed out there are some negative balances in the accounts receivable people will see for roughly $18,915. That represents a credit to SMS Rail Services and Champlain Hudson Power Express CHP accounts. The CHP payments were received early, which is standard for what I've been told. And SMS has a credit due for an overpayment. So the SMS item will be corrected and the CHPE will be processed in time. So that's all I have with the balance sheet right there. Does anybody have questions on the balance sheet before we look at the profit and loss?
Good.
All right. So on the profit and loss, we're seeing a year-over-year net operating income decrease. So effectively our cash flow. However, it's kind of misleading. So we're looking at a negative 40,000 net operating income now compared to a 186,000 last year. So we're looking at a swing of roughly 220,000, albeit a big number. A lot of that actually isn't true operating cash. So in 2025, we received $98,283 back in HUD, which if you basically take that out of our expenses from 2025, it matches the 2026's. So if we're taking out that one-time large reimbursement, it's kind of net. So really what we're looking at is the differences in income from this year to last year, which is the major difference. So of that, there's 3 line items. Rail usage fees from Kiewit, which is 46,000. I found out that there was a Canadian strike last year, and so we received a lot more income in that area. So that was a new thing that I didn't know about. But even if we were receiving it, which it's very timely based from what I understand, it wouldn't be at that same amount unless there was another strike that were to happen. So that should be decreased over the time going on. Then there's project legal reimbursement, which is essentially us paying for legal counsel ahead of time, getting reimbursed back. So again, that's kind of just a net item, not a true operating income. And then if we're looking at true operating income for project fees, we have none this year so far. And last year at this point in time, we had 30,797. So that's kind of the 2 big pieces that are the change from this year to last year is the rail usage fees from Kiewit and the project fees that haven't hit yet. So really we're looking at about a $70,000 difference, not a $220,000 difference for the reimbursements. Any questions on the profit and loss statement? Okay. I think does the next item is do we jump over to the accounts payable or is that not yet?
Let me get a vote on the year-to-date financial report so we can close those out and then we'll move on to the accounts payable. With that, treasurer's notes there, I will entertain a motion to accept the year-to-date financial report. Melissa, second. Mark. We'll honor Nick and do a roll call vote.
John Taflin, Trisha Rogers, Kevin Mahoney, Charlie Tall,
Yes.
Melissa Fitch, Mark Yershaw, Juan Gonzalez. Motion passes.
Discussion point. Good. All right. Moving on to accounts payable, treasurer.
All right. So after working with the team, basically it sounds like all these items are very standard. Did those 3 items make it to the list, Allie?
No, what were the 3 items? I only have 2.
Maybe it was 2 items then. I might be saying it wrong, but there's 2 items that I believe needed to be added to the payables.
Okay. Yes. So in addition to what you see in your accounts payables, second page to the agenda, I also received 2 more payables today that I would like to add for approval to get these paid instead of waiting until our next board meeting. One of them is the third quarter rail share to WCC for $26,814.08. And I also received an invoice from our electric for $252. Thank you, Connor.
Excellent. Thank you. Outside that, all the accounts payable seem in line to what we've done in the past as an organization. And there's nothing that I would say looks out of the norm. So I would recommend to pay the accounts payable as presented with the addition of the 2 line items.
With that, I will entertain a motion to accept the accounts payables with the addition of the 2 items. Kevin, second. Melissa, discussion.
Tangentially discussion, I believe in the towns, if we make a proper adoption of a resolution, we can have routine bills like utilities, it's reached automatically. I'm not sure, but I think it's, they value. Anybody have that experience? Okay, we did it in my town. So it might be available to us as an agency too.
Kara, do you know anything about that?
You can authorize in advance, like the standard
Telephone.
monthly expenditures, and then you would just report on those, and you could report on those and tell them, tell the report to the board, these are we paid the normal do-to-dos.
Okay, so kind of like how we do like the credit card and things that need to get paid prior to. Okay.
Rick,
You could have the board approve which ones are regularly scheduled.
so we owe the board a list of our regularly scheduled bills, and then we'll have that for next month, and then we can get a resolution to get that one going, and then we'll help with the payables.
I didn't mean to slow things down.
No, that's good. No,
Well, no way to bring it up.
one quick pause to make us more efficient in the future.
We can help on the bank side that probably better.
Okay. Thank you.
Great. Any further discussion? All right, with that, roll call vote, please, guys.
John Taplin,
Yes.
Trisha Rogers,
Yes.
Kevin Mahoney,
Yes.
Charlie Tall,
Yes.
Melissa Fitch, Mark Earshaw,
Yes.
Juan Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Before we leave this, Ally, do you want to talk to the board about the request we have for the automatic payment?
That's something that I will just include. So ADK Tax, our MSP, they had asked us to automatically have EFT payments going to them on the first of every month versus writing a check and waiting till after the board meeting. But now I'll just add that to the list of things to approve for next month.
Great. All right, moving on to report of committees. Our chair is not here, so we'll turn it over to Chuck.
Good afternoon, everybody. We have all sorts of issues to address today.
Opportunities.
Opportunities, excitement. Spicy as one says. Okay, so Mr. Bruno is not here. I will go through my standard list. I'll try to keep it brief. I do recognize that there are some board members that are not at the executive board meeting. And so those who have been to executive board meetings, there is some redundancy here. I'll try to streamline it. If I'm going too quick or too slow, please let me know. First, thank you. Back on our January 20th board meeting, we went through the secret process that went incredibly well. Just want to report to the board that Liz DeBramo and Kara have completed all the seeker documentation notification processes. So that has now been concluded. Moving on to the water capacity expansion. Labella has sent the January 19th water map plan report and will serve letter to the Village Water District, and that is under review. Kara has provided the Canal Side Water District formation documents to the town. The town board is very supportive of the February 19th meeting, which I was at. There is going to be a public hearing scheduled for March 9th. And assuming all goes well at the public hearing, the town will be well positioned to formally approve the water district formation. Labella is working on what they call the plan set for permitting, which is at 90% completion. And it is being reviewed by the village, Canadian Pacific Kansas Railway, Kansas City Railway, and New York State Department of Health. And finally, Labella is beginning to address the village project development agreement, which was presented to the IDA by the village attorney. So as we do this project in the town, we'll have a special agreement acknowledging the work and making sure we clear the expectations of the board. That's it for the water expansion, except I will mention we had a water break on site today. I had a call about an hour before this meeting. A water break at MK going to our site. Our site currently doesn't have water, but there's no user of water. And tomorrow morning I'll be visiting the site to understand more. Apparently there was 200 gallons per minute splashing out on East Street. So anyways, more to come, and we will be responsible for repairing that. So more to come on that.
Did it freeze and then thaw because it was too
You know, it
hot?
just happened today, so it happened while it was warm, but the village was able to turn it off, so it should be okay. So one more tomorrow. Late breaking news, sorry. Moving on to the new sewer connection. We are, as already mentioned, working to connect the Washington County Sewer District. Rubella is designing a lower capacity connection via East Street. The sewer district agrees, but is checking the integrity of the existing sewer line to its treatment facility. On February 11th, the line was inspected, but hampered by heavy sewer grit and roots. That's the quote. Heavy sewer grit and roots. The inspection is being rescheduled with a heavy clean operation this week. The cost has increased from $4,000 to $8,600 because of the poor condition of the line. And this will all be within the Rubella contract for the engineering, by the way. So this is already authorized spending. The next, we will be working on permitting and the land agreement for the connection. We'll require an agreement with WCC, who owns the lot south of Canal Side. We are in discussions with them about some sort of agreement that we could run the sewer line along those lots where the existing water line currently runs. More to come on that initiative. Moving on to East Street entrance road modification. The DEC has approved the wetlands general permit, and it did so surprisingly fast. Credit goes to Lavella for drafting the very thorough permit request. The New York State DOT has provided minor design modification that Bob Holmes has incorporated into design drawings. After the construction contract is awarded by the LG board, Lavella would submit a work permit application to the DOT. Next item is for board approval. The invitation to bid package for construction was released on January 22nd, and 9 proposals were received on February 12th, last Thursday. The cost range was $419,000 to $262,000. The average is $315,000. Bob Holmes and I spoke with the 2 lowest bidders to make sure they had accurate understanding of the project and answer any questions. All went well with both phone calls last Thursday. Bob, anything to add on for our process with bidding out the work and the proposals received?
Pretty well covered it on it, Chuck. The main thing you alluded to it is once a contract's awarded, there will be, because of the DOT comments, there will be somewhat of a small change I would expect in that price that we'll have to negotiate with the selected contractor.
Right, will be a work order change, and maybe 1 or 2 others that might group up. We'll see what happens.
I can keep it to a minimum, put it that way.
So we would like to move forward with awarding the bid. We'd like to do this at the lowest qualified proposal. It is WMJ Keller and Sons Construction Corporation located in Castleton, New York. I do have their 24-page proposal that I'd be happy to send along if people are interested. I hand that to you, Charlie. A little bit of background on the company. The company is a very well-established company. We received a proposal from their vice president, Jameson Phillips. They are specialized in civil heavy highway work, bridges and culverts, horizontal directional drilling, utilities, and site development. They also provide us a list of projects they have done in the area, everywhere from Greene County up to Johnsburg, the town of Johnsburg, and ranging from 35 million to 200,000. So they do work in a wide range, and they are well known. So that is the recommendation for board consideration to award this contract. The exact amount is $262,053. Are there any questions about the bid process or the recommendation to award this project.
Are we, so is this also coinciding with the lowest price or? Did we
It is
go
a
up?
good question. It is the lowest price. Yes, thank you.
With no questions, I will entertain a motion to approve the award of the East Gate entrance modification to WMJ Keller and Sons. John, second. Melissa, any discussion? Roll call vote, please, Alice.
John Chaplin,
Yes.
Trisha.
I used to be in first, sorry.
We did that to Tricia.
Gotta be on the ball. Trisha Rogers, Kevin Mahoney, Charlie Tall,
Yes.
Melissa Fitch, Mark Yearshaw, Juan Gonzalez.
Yeah,
Motion passes.
great.
Okay, thank you. Just continuing on with the East Street entrance road modification report out. We are now at the point that we'll be working with Canal Corp for the work permit. Nick Hansen, the Canal Corp maintenance engineer responsible for Lock 8, has been kept well informed of the project and is quite frankly quite excited about it. He will be helping us work through Canal Corp in the work permit process. We are targeting the work permit approval in March for construction to start on May 3rd, be completed by June 30th. And finally, the Lock 8 bridge replacement is targeted to start July 1st. Any questions about the East Street entrance road modification project? Okay, thank you. Moving on next, the new natural gas supply. A prospective buyer has expressed need for natural gas. The prospective buyer has completed a National Grid natural gas connection form. On January 15th, National Grid notified us that National Grid can accommodate the request after a planned reinforcement of an existing nearby gas main to be completed in 2029. I'm now working with National Grid to advance the engineering work on this so we can work concurrently with the engineering while they work on this reinforcement of the existing gas line. More to come on that project. And finally, we have to do NEPA for the HUD funding, and LaBelle is completing the NEPA form. It's basically equivalent to the seeker we did at a federal level instead of the state level. And there'll be more to come on that NEPA for board approval in the near future. And finally, we'll talk about the canal side assessment. The site, the 79-acre site, as you know, has two lots, one lot in the village and one lot in the town. The two lots together are assessed for 10.3 million. We have a 2025 appraisal valued as is at 5 million, and we've listed the site at 8 million. So we're beginning to engage the village and town assessor on this high assessment. And there is more to come on this. This is uncharted territory for us, but we need to do this on behalf of the prospective buyer because they are concerned about this high assessed value. More to come on that. We realize this is a little sensitive area, so we'll be handling accordingly in a sensitive way. Any feedback on the assessment issue?
Question.
Yes.
We're acting on behalf of prospective buyer, which.
Well, we're going to do it ourselves.
Right?
We're going to do it ourselves.
Okay.
But if this prospective buyer goes away, this is still good to have done for an additional new prospective buyer in the future, if that occurs. Finally, as we already mentioned, Kiewit is winding down on site. And SMS Rail and Our Electric continue to be very active on site. That's it for canal side, unless there are any questions. Okay, going to the airport industrial park, we have added in the new business section a new topic, which will be a proposed sale for the Ferguson Lane expansions. But I will not go into that right now. That's it. Thus, therefore, I have nothing else to report from the airport industrial park unless there are any questions. Okay, that's it for the report out. Thank you.
Great. Any final comments, concerns, or questions on both, Canal Side or the industrial park, airport industrial park. All right, with none, moving to ongoing business, we'll do the Wood Creek Holdings resolution approval and, update and finding statement on page 14 of the read ahead, or will take us through that one.
Okay, so this project was originally approved, on May 19th, 2025, so obviously some time has passed since then. We are anticipating a closing soon, so, we've reached out to the company to see if any of the project costs, et cetera, loans have changed at all. And so they responded to us, and I'm not, do you have both versions in the package? The red line and the.
No.
Okay, so, I'll just go, this is a amended and restated version of the resolution that was passed in May 2025. And so I'll just go over the items that have changed. It's all the same in the first 2 pages, and the last couple of whereas is just explain that this was adopted in May, and since then there's been some changes to some of the costs. So this project has been, for the benefit, obviously, the board members weren't here at that time, but we've already been through the public hearing and seeker review and things like that. We've just kind of been in a holding pattern until they're ready to proceed. So it seems as if they are moving forward, and we'll be closing shortly. So we wanted to update everything going forward. So the first change is in section 1I. Their prior estimated total project cost was $895, and they've increased that to $915. In section 3D, they've told us that their sales tax exemptions will remain the same as of right now, but they previously said that the project would be completed by the end of 2025, so we're obviously pushing that out through May of 2026. And then there was a slight modification to their loan amount. The prior mortgage amount was 500, no, the numbers got changed here. 594 or $546,900, and they have modified this to 447,500. The reason is that they changed the numbers with the SBA loan. Is that right? Say that right?
So it got small.
Mine is marked
The
up.
other way.
I grabbed that line. It was 469,594. Now it's 447,500.
Yeah, that's the version we have.
Okay. All right. I'm trying to read my red line and not urgent. So those are the only changes. We updated the administrative fee based on the new project amount of $915. So the new project admin fee is $8,235. So basically, this is just asking you to restate your approval and with those updates.
All right. Give me a second to get to the resolution. And with that, I will entertain a motion to amend and restate the resolution taking action towards undertaking a certain project as defined herein, appointing Wood Creek Holdings LLC, the company, as agent of the agency for the purpose of constructing and equipping the project facility as defined herein, and authorizing the execution and delivery of a project agreement and lease agreement and related documents by and between the agency and the company. First, Charlie, second. John? Any discussion? All right, roll call vote, please, Ally.
John Toughlin.
Yes.
Trisha Rogers.
Yes.
Kevin Mahoney.
Yes.
Charlie Tall.
Yes.
Melissa Fitch.
Yes.
Mark Yearshaw.
Abstain.
Juan Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Motion passes.
Yeah. Been a long process. But we're almost.
Could be a
there.
great end result, though.
And just for the record, page 29 did have all the estimated community benefits over 10 years still there. Great. All right, any additional ongoing business? All right, new business, everything on the foot, sales tax exemption extension, pages 33 of the read ahead. Kara, take us through that one.
Okay, this one was before the board, at the end of last year. They asked for an extension to complete their project for the end of February, and they are requesting a further extension through the end of April 3rd, through the end of April. So April 30th, 2026, to extend their sales tax exemption and project completion date. None of the figures have changed.
All right, with that, I will entertain a motion to accept the resolution taking action extending the project completion date and authorization for sales tax exemption to Everything Underfoot LLC as agent of the agency for the purpose of constructing and equipping the project facility. John, second. Mark, discussion. Roll call, please, Alex.
John Taplin,
Yes.
Trisha Rogers, Kevin Mahoney, Charlie Tall,
Yes.
Melissa Fitch,
Yes.
Mark Yearshaw,
Yes.
Juan Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Great. All right, we'll move into the workers' compensation exclusion of unsalaried executive members. Want me to see that one?
Yes, so Associates of Glens Falls Insurance Company reached out to me this year, and this is the first year where the company has asked for written confirmation voted by the board for officials, non-paid officials of the board to not be included under the IDA's workman's comp. And we need to show record that the board did approve of this.
That is on page 9 of the read ahead.
What do we have to do? Verify it?
Verify that the board won't have workers' comp with volunteers. We do have officers with insurance coverage, by the way, just FYI. But this is standard with insurance companies, just saying volunteers won't be subject to workers' comp claims.
All right, with that, I'll entertain a motion to approve the workers' comp exclusion of unsalaried executive members. Lisa, second. Mark? We need a roll call for this? No. All in favor? Aye. Any final discussions? A little bit out there. All right. Any abstain? All right, motion carries. Good. All right, moving on. 7880 Main Street refinance, page 36 of the read ahead. Sarah, take us through this.
Okay, so this is the project on Main Street in the town of Queensberry. It was approved in 2022. It is completed. It's the apartments across the street are kind of diagonal from the Adirondack Trust branch out by exit 18. When they closed on their project, they financed with NBT. Their mortgage amount was $3,178,000. They are now refinancing that loan with Pioneer Bank, and they've asked us to consider a mortgage recording tax exemption on the refinance. We are required to participate when a company refinances because we're in their chain of title. So they always come to us to either ask for a refinance or subordination to the mortgage. Our UTEP policy indicates that any refinance that is part of the overall project is eligible for the mortgage recording tax exemption, which in Warren County is 1% of the face value of the mortgage. And the UTEP goes on to say that if it's not part of the overall project, then it's discretionary for the board's consideration. So in this case, they are refinancing for more than their outstanding balances. They're refinancing for $4,250,000. The money that they are taking out is going to be used for other projects. They've not disclosed those projects to us. So the portion that is automatically eligible for the exemption is the amount of money that's being refinanced, not the new money. Based on, the last figure they provided to me, the refinanced amount is a little over 3.1 million. So that would be about $31,000 and change in large court and tax.
So,
So the new money, they would pay mortgage recording tax on the new money being advanced to them, the equity,
unless we authorize.
unless you authorize that.
And so the motivation for their refinancing was because it's cheaper for them already at the 3.1. Because I mean, when you refinance, you have either you have expansion or you have better rates.
Yeah, I don't know I don't know if they got in more favorable terms or they want to. Yeah.
What's the precedent? Can you give examples of what's doing this?
Yeah, I mean, we have this happen often when companies refinance over the course of their projects. We've done it for a variety of projects. Historically, we have not given the exemption on the new money.
I would have a challenge with that as well, because it's not, the refinance is not gonna be used for the project that we have approved. And should they want to use it for another project, they should be bringing an application. For me, the fiduciary responsibility of being a board member, I have to say that I do not agree with being able to refinance or that section that's not part of the project that they have.
We had no information that money's going back into that project. So what we have is what
No.
they gave us.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it is.
Right.
Yeah,
There's something.
yeah, they said, saying it would be used for other projects. But they didn't.
Principally, if we go back a dozen years or so, interest rates were higher and they were down. Of course, everybody would refinance the same amount at a better rate. We are expressly giving them free refinance option on the mortgage tax. Even though they're getting a better rate. So rates went from 6 down to 3, down to 2, down to 1. It seems interesting from a point of view from our side that we allow them to be exempt from the county's tax when they're getting a better deal for doing what they're doing.
The current UTAP, the current uniform tax exempt policy that was adopted by this board of 2023 to 2022 specifically allows for a refinance on a project that's part of the project.
Allows
If-
for or requires.
It's a
Okay,
shall.
well, then that's fine.
So, if the board is so inclined to revisit this, then the board would need to amend its policy.
You're not necessarily wanting to really.
No, I'm just
So they-
saying like that.
It's a good point you brought up. So they've already gotten initially the credit for the month, right?
Mhm.
And so the refinancing, and they're gonna get it again for the part that's part of the project.
Right, so if they were refinancing, because they're refinancing with a different bank, it's kind of like a new loan altogether. So they are required to pay, they would otherwise be required to pay. They would have to pay it because of the new bank. If they were refinancing with the same bank, then it would be a little bit different.
So if they were refinancing with the same bank, this would be easier because it would be one question.
They would have already paid the money. But now this bank is issuing new money essentially to pay off the original bank.
I know, I see the perspective. I didn't look for it from that perspective, but I see it.
So we're in a time now where interest rates are questionable, but way back, everybody was refinancing their homes when rates were going from 7 down to 0. And every time they had to pay mortgage tax. It's the same thing businesses do. You get a call the bonds, you reissue them at a lower rate. But every time you have an underwriting fee. So we're going to be out of the underwriting fee if interest rates go favorable for them to do so. We're giving them a little extra check.
Yeah.
It's not the first business call, it's the later business call. And we're in the first business of getting them going.
Yeah.
But that's a
That's
question for
fascinating.
us.
No, that's a fascinating perspective. I like that. Okay, causes calls.
Yeah, it comes down to ultimately, what is the global advantage of moving the money? And moving the rate, it could be, even the rate might not be better, it might be the only way they can get the money. I don't know, every deal is a different
Right.
conversation.
Right.
So,
Some banks not been willing to remove 1.3 from zero, if they'll move the whole 4 there.
right,
That's right.
In their email to us, they said for other projects in the community, but we don't know specifically what projects. We know it's good for the community, but yeah, no specifics.
and we'd be likely open to a discussion on the new project, if there's new projects, that's, forgive our,
Right. No,
forgive our first.
no, this is amazing. No, this is fascinating. This is why we do it. And, and if there's, the rates go down in 6 months and they come back again, at what point are we saying, yeah, we've given you we've done our part for this project? And without any guidance in the UTEP on how many times that we could say, yes, I'm inclined for one, and after the initial, and then if they try to come back in 6 months again, because they do it again, I would be less inclined to give it to them again.
The project we approved for, this isn't new information changing the original project. We approved it for what they did. Circumstances outside of our influence are what they're looking to get an extra kick for after we approve. Because
No, it's great. I'm just fascinated to understand what the municipality would think about their thoughts on this. Not that we are municipality partners on the line, but it is just fascinating to hear. Is it a big hit? And
well, every $30,000 is a $30,000 hit.
that's true. Well, that's
There's
great.
$30,000 of the operation. Big money is kept. I don't think we're responsible for operation. They're not gonna use the $30,000 of capital. Interest in this facility, we're gonna use it for operation.
Right.
They still have to profit.
That's the right result.
So why would we? I personally wouldn't support that.
Good. No, great perspective. So what our options are what are our options, Karen? We can
Table it.
table to,
Do you
Well-
understand?
what more information would we, they've already said that it's not gonna be used for the project. Do we need to have an understanding of what impact that the extra $30,000 is gonna impact on the municipality, impact on the company, or we? And just if somebody doesn't want me to entertain the motion to table, we have to stop the discussion and go through the vote. So we can still talk about tabling and we can talk about this topic, but if somebody does want me to raise the vote, we do have to stop talking. So,
Excuse me, there are two other projects I think that this company's will be involved. One project is right off of Quaker Road for Beach University. And the other project is
That's a housing project.
that's a housing project, and the other project is North Street where meets warehouse. Those are the project that I was involved in.
perspectives, still adding perspectives to the discussion.
Well, what I interjected perhaps is giving us cause for thinking about a pivot in some aspect of the automatic granting, but we have a policy of doing it the way we've been doing it, and I don't interfere in that policy. So I don't know what we're really thinking about with the new idea, because it's a new idea.
We don't have a policy. Right? We don't have this.
Is it a policy?
Yeah,
or is it-
it's your, it's
We
your
have precedent.
uniforms and exemption policy.
And it says shall, be
It-
shall.
May or shall?
Yeah, a big difference. And we can, I don't know if this is, if they have a tight closing time frame, but we could table this and learn more.
On the policy,
I don't
And how
know.
it
if
works.
they're-
Table it, you would get it up before that's fine.
Right,
Correct.
that's why.
Yeah, I don't know if they're timing trained.
We table it myself
This
itself.
company is working hard at,
They are.
housing issues. Yes.
No, definitely not. We understand it's a great company. But for fiduciary responsibility.
Can we restate our decision, our recommendation to table it for? What's the rationale for that again?
For time purposes, we could have it go to the executive committee at the meeting at the beginning of March. If we want to cut down the timing,
Make that a special.
What's our specific question?
Is understanding, give the board more time to understand this policy and as well as our options and as well as if it's really something that each board member wants to do. Which may or may not cause a precedence or at least, sets a tone for how this happens, what's gonna happen in the future for these types of
Yeah.
requests.
So the language says, in the event that the agency retains title to or otherwise has jurisdiction over a project, it is the general policy of the agency to abate mortgage recording taxes on any debt for the purposes of refinancing prior debt and on any modifications, extensions, and renewals thereof, so long as the agency fees relating to the same have been paid and the agency has consented to said exemption upon written request to the agency.
We have a policy. We originally. We could, sorry.
No,
It's good, it's a good.
That's great.
I think the policy states that we should move forward. But we can ask the applicant to come and talk with us if that would be something the board would be interested in. And we could certainly do it at the executive committee meeting, just for timing wise for them, if there's a timing element to the compliance.
How often do we get these requests?
I would say we get a handful every year, like 3 or 4.
So is it something that we could approve now and then revisit the policy before we get the back?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's it.
And we can't separate.
No, we can separate to say that, because then we go on and say, it goes on, the policy goes on to say it's non-project financing, that they're taking with the extra money, the new money is not related to this project at all. They're refinancing their existing debt.
With more money.
Yeah. So the affidavit, if the board is inclined to improve it on the existing, on the refinanced money, then the affidavit that the IDA will sign will say that they're required to pay mortgage recording tax. First of all, they have to pay it on the 0.25%, and then they would also have to pay it on any new money advanced as part of this, which we don't have the actual number because that actual number won't be available until the time of closing, but the payoff amount as of last week was $3,126,000.
Technically, if we did it for further funding, they're bypassing the whole process that we're trying to set up to get mortgage tax abatement. Just by saying I'm doing a bigger project with this money. We haven't seen the project that they're doing, have we?
No, correct, we have not. And that's why we were just gonna, for the 3.1, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
3,178.
3178.
That's the principal amount when we closed in 2022. The payoff amount is that like 3.126 and change. But that number will fluctuate depending on, once the bank does its final, like we do. And so all the.
I say, like it. All right,
So we have a motion on the table to accept the 3.1 and change? Or is the whole motion on the table for the whole board and change?
let me make sure what.
You don't have the whole thing. So the resolution that's in the package,
Or the 3. I don't know whatever.
Looking for
what's on the table.
the resolution that's in the package would need to be amended so that the
I'll move to-
second to
I'll
last
move to-
paragraph would say that it would be one would they've requested, and I'll just leave it that they've requested an exemption on the mortgage tax on the money to be refinanced. And then in section 2, under the say that the agency approved the consent to a mortgage reported tax exemption on the monies to be refinanced and not on the money to be advanced.
So there was a motion to accept the amendment. Do I have a second? John? Final, any discussion? Final discussion?
I guess I'm confused as to what. The motion is telling me that I'm going to accept the idea that is it 4 or 3? You know that yet?
It's 3.1.
That, because that's the original mortgage that we
That's-
built. And we're supposed to give them the relief on mortgage tax for the 3. And they're saying just because they're gonna spend that $30,000 on additional projects in the.
No.
No.
Because you're saying there's an additional $1.1 million that they're taking out of the project, and you're not gonna authorize an exemption on that additional new money that is being, the equity that they're taking out of the existing facility.
We're taking $1.1 million out to use somewhere else.
Yeah, so it's maybe, yeah, it's what we first had in the motion, approving of an abatement of about 4.25 or so.
Yes.
And where the amendment inside the proposal is to bring it down to 3.
Thank you. Great. Any other discussions? All right, well, yes, ma'am.
Made the motion.
Charlie,
Charlie, okay.
John, second.
Okay, thank you.
John Slicky's got the major. Roll call vote.
John Toughlin.
Yep.
Trisha Rogers. Kevin Mahoney. Charlie Tall.
Yeah.
Melissa Fitch.
Yes.
Mark Yershaw.
Yes.
Juan Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion carries. That's the amendment. Now I will entertain a motion to accept the resolution as amended, approving a mortgage and consolidation agreement with Pioneer Bank in connection with 7880 Main Street LLC and authorizing execution and delivery of the same. John, and Mark was blocking me, ninja. Second. Melissa, any discussions? Roll call vote, please, Ally.
John Toughlin.
Yes.
Trisha Rogers. Kevin Mahoney. Charlie Tall.
Yes.
Melissa Fitch.
Yes.
Mark Yershaw.
Yes.
Juan Gonzalez.
Yes,
Motion passes.
and if you're learning, I'm learning too. This is very fascinating stuff. We appreciate the board members. We appreciate all the perspectives. Please keep it coming. We're gonna grow, we're gonna keep growing as these perspectives come. All right. Moving on to a new item in new business, the sale of airport industrial lots. We'll talk, let Chuck take us through a history first before we get into this discussion.
Okay, so thank you to our friends at Berkshire Hathaway Blake Realty. They've been marketing this property at Airport Industrial Park Phase 2. We call the Ferguson Lane Extension. It's 8 lots at the end of Ferguson Lane plus the paper road itself. That comprises of the 26 acres. We had listed the property for $150,000. That was based upon some old wetland rules, of which 18 acres was developable. Under the new wetland rules, we believe that only 12.8 acres is available. However, we do have a local business owner that's been looking at the property and just yesterday submitted a signed proposal to purchase the property. The business is Richard Sears Trees Experts. The majority owner is Bill Hafner. This company is growing. They're working into utility and municipal tree contracts. They're not just doing residential. Matter of fact, they're actually moving away from residential. They're looking at this site to put $3 million into it, to have it be a site where they maintain the mobile equipment, also have a mulching operation, and also have storage of both the mulch equipment and the maintenance of the equipment. This company is thinking about doing incentive application, but it's still too early. The immediate issue in front of us is that in January, they offered us $75,000 for the 26 acres. Again, only 12.8 is developable. At the February 4th executive committee meeting, the committee decided to counter $103,000. That ends up being a little over $8,000 per acre. Mr. Hafner has accepted the counteroffer and supplied the signed agreement to purchase the land. This will take some time because he'll need to go in front of the planning board, the Kingsbury Planning Board, to get the project approved. It will require DEC approval because wetlands are involved. So this will be a slow moving project. The closing won't happen for a while to get through all these other issues before the closing. Maybe fall of this year, I'd anticipate the project might be closed. But before he moves forward, he needs board approval to formally accept the offer of $103,000 for the Ferguson Lane extension. With that, are there any questions or further insight from other people involved?
We're gonna do this one just a little bit differently because we do have to go through the actual resolution, to make sure, because it is under our fair market value, so we'll entertain a motion and then a second, and then we'll open up discussion. I'll start the discussion with the parts that we need to very diligently go through. So with that, I will entertain a motion to accept the resolution of the counties of Warren and Washington Industrial Development Agency approving and authorizing sale of property. First, Charlie. Second. Tricia. All right. Let's start with the most important item on this. If you look at page 2 on second page, number 1. After due deliberation thereon, the agency has determined that the disposal of the property intends to further the economic development interest of the agency, whereby the property has been on the market for half a century with no meaningful interested purchaser. So IDA took this lot in March of 1975, couple years ago, decades. Predates a few of our younger board members, but this was truly an opportunity for the community and for the interested purchaser. Additionally, if we go through page 3, the statement pursuant to the Public Authorities Law section, the assets to be sold in the vacant real property located in the town of Kingsbury, County of Washington, are known as the following lots. An appraised value, number 2, an appraised value, each acre of developable land at $9,687.50. Due to the amendments to New York State rules and regulations concerning wetlands, there are 12 acres of developable land out of the 24.31 acres. Appraised value is $116,250. You can read number 3. And number 4, the proposed purchase price of the property is $103,000, which is approximately an 11% reduction from the appraised value. The sale will return the property to the tax rules and reduce costs of the agency related to the ownership of the property. Any additional paragraphs that we must discuss, Kara?
You have to publicly say who the purchaser is.
The purchaser is MEG Capital Holdings LLC, number 5. The operator is Richard Sears Tree Experts. And since we're there, number 6, the IDA has not received any other offers to purchase the property. Any other discussions on the sale of this property? With that, I will we'll do a roll call, please, Valerie.
John Taplin,
Yes.
Trisha Rogers,
Yes.
Kevin Mahoney,
Yes.
Charlie Tall,
Yes.
Melissa Fitch,
Yes.
Mark Yershaw,
Yes.
Juan Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Congratulations, team. We just brought a property that has been off tax rolls for 50 years. We got a lot of work to do. The utilities are not to the property line. So the potential new owner has a lot of work to do, and we're gonna do everything that we can to make that property back into Washington County roads. Yes, sir.
How many appraisals did we have? Just the one? Because we have to do this because it's going below an appraised value, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right?
By law, we have to have one appraisal completed to determine what that is for purposes of our record. So it's just.
And well, you want to pay for multiple appraisals.
Right.
It's unfortunate.
We can't require the buyer to or be associated with that.
We also did it for the listing itself. Yes, the appraisal, we had the listing, we had the value of the land, assuming utilities were up to the site, and then we discounted because they weren't, and we estimated the cost to bring the utilities to site. So that 150 is assuming the cost by the buyer for bringing utilities to site. And again, we need it for listing with Berkshire Hathaway. Like really.
So the law that's applicable here is public authorities law, and basically it says if we're gonna dispose of any of our assets, it has to be done by public bid unless you can fall into one of the categories. So, I mean, obviously the property is listed, we did public bid, we probably wouldn't get any bids, et cetera, et cetera. So because it's listed, we can do it by negotiated sale. Then if we sell it for below fair market value, we have to go through the 6 questions that were on the back and address all of those to confirm that this was the only reasonable means to get the best value out of the property out of the sale, considering it's been available for sale for 50 years. I think that's justified.
This is fair. Tradesman is right there. We were mixing these terms up.
Well,
Tradesman.
you can talk to some other people about it.
That market value is what someone will in the paper. Okay. Good. Any other final points before we move on? Well done, team. All right, new business. Everybody seeing the 2025 highlights and impacts. Well, now that we have a treasurer, we'll add the treasurer to that. This will be going public here within the next day or two. What we're asking for board members is that follow us on LinkedIn. That's one of the key items that we want to grow our LinkedIn. And for those that have a tremendous following on LinkedIn, like Mark Yearshaw, we would appreciate you sharing that with he's famous on LinkedIn. Trisha too, Trisha, please. So thank everybody. Final input, please get it back to us quickly as we want to take that public, and we thank our partners for that, and Behand Communication did a good job, and I know it came in late with a few changes, so we appreciate their patience with that.
Good. Thank you. Team effort.
All right, any other new business? Staff reports, Chuck.
Okay, I'll try to be quick. This is staff report for January 21st, February 17th. On January 21st, I attended my first ARCC board member. For those still know, I joined Trisha both. It's very nice because we cover both Warren and Washington counties, and we'll be the dynamic duo. Watch out.
Shows the key.
So then on January 22nd, I actually met with the CEO of RevRail, who was looking to expand business in Warren County. More to come on that project. Then also on the 22nd, met with Warren County EDC, DM Communications, and representatives of Warren and Washington County Arts World to discuss the next steps for advancing arts culture and economic impact and understand economic impact in our region. More to come on this. This is sort of an evolving effort that we're teaming up with EDC and also Laura Oswald from Washington. Then on January 26th, I met with Michelle DeGarmo from Greenwich and the town supervisor discussing a potential pilot for a workforce housing project. More to come on that. Then on January 27th, Ally and I met with Karen Madsen, our busy bee beekeeper, discussed Cool County and the transition from 2025 to 2026. We already did a lot of the Cool County changes in 24 to 25, but there's one more that we had to take care of into 2026, and I think that meeting went well. I'm sorry if I stole any thunder. You were going to report out.
Oh, no,
Okay.
no, you're not.
And then
Not actually a beekeeper, though.
what's that?
Busy bee bookkeeper. You said beekeeper. I was chuckling. Just hold technology.
We did it. Okay, then moving on, I've also back on February 2nd met with Drew Calbanco, who was considering a housing project in the town of Horicon. As you can tell, there's a lot of different housing projects out there that are beginning to evolve, and the IDA does seem to be out there, so they're coming to us to ask if this. Then on February 10th, I attended the New York State Economic Development Council meeting in Albany with over 450 participants. Quickly hit the update from state legislators. There were 2 senators and 2 assembly members that talked about things that are going on. All were pro-business, talking about business activity at the state level. Then there was a conference breakout with the site power solutions, particularly with battery technology. And then the lunchtime keynote speaker was the state budget director, Blake Washington, talking about regulatory streamlining. Then after lunch, there was the New York State Economic Development Budget that highlighted biotech, quantum computing, and placemaking, including art and culture and county infrastructure grants. Then I attended a seminar on New York State Opportunity Zones, very technical program for tax, capital gain tax exemptions. And this could be applicable to both Johnsburg and to Washington County, although that could be changing as far as qualification within Washington County. Then later in the day, the next keynote speaker talking about New York State fiscal health was Controller Thomas DiNapoli. He did a great job as usual. And then finally, there was a seminar by the New York State EDC and the Business Council talking about what they're calling the New York State Roadmap for thriving business climate, and talking about what it's like running businesses with New York State. We're actually ranked fairly low as far as competitiveness, right? Some people are smiling. But there is an action plan in place to help with some of those issues. Of course, it has to get through the city legislative branch, and that unfortunately takes some time. Then moving on to, let's see here, February 12th, I attended the ARC Mixer Theater, very well attended. Then on, no, that's about it. Any questions about activities over the past month? As far as my engagements list that we've talked about in the past, so far this year, there have been 7 engagements, 2 with manufacturing distribution, 1 with tourism and recreation, 3 with housing, and 1 for other. Of those 7, 1 might be a 2026 application for incentives, 1 might be 2027, 3 are unknown, and 2 will not be applicants. As far as the pipeline list, we currently have 17 different companies interested in doing incentive application. 4 are mixed use, 4 are housing, 3 are hotel and resort, 4 are manufacturing, and 1 is food and beverage. Of those 17, 3 are working on their applications. 6 are considering working on an application. 8 are still exploring. That's a total of 17, and we've had 10 within the past year who decided not to pursue an application. That's it, unless there are any questions.
So what's an engagement mean?
An engagement means could be a meeting, could be a Zoom call, anybody that wants to know more about what we can do to help your business. Thanks.
Great. Anything else for Chad? All right, turn it over to Ally.
I only have a few things. On February 11th, representatives from EFPR, are the company that does our annual audit, came to the office, and it went well, as far as I can tell. We should be hearing something as far as their draft reporting either later on this week or next week at some point, at which point we'll review. We'll have a meeting with the Audit and Finance Committee and see if there's any questions, and we can get EFPR on the phone involved if there's anything that need to answer or clarify for us. So that's coming on the pike. Hopefully we'll have final reports for the board to approve in March. Also, our town and county pilots, we're only missing 3 payments so far. Well, 3 payments. Everybody else is paid. Hopefully we'll have them by the end of this month. And I also want to remind any of the old members, Tricia, John, Kevin, have you guys filled out your evaluations yet? Do you want me? Okay. Okay.
Financial disclosure?
No. The confidential board evaluations. I will. Okay. All right. Would it help if I sent them again?
Yes.
I need, okay, I need these numbers for ABR reporting. I don't mean to be a pain.
Yes, you got it. Yes. He's just
Right.
being very nice right now. When you only talk about four of us, you know something.
I will do that.
I
I meant not the new members. That's all. That's all. All right. That's all I had. Thank you.
Anything else? Do we have any public comments? Well done, treasurer. All right, with that, if there's nothing else, I will entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting. Yes.
No, I was waiting.
Oh, okay. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting at 5:11.
Motion.
Mark, second. John, all in favor? Aye. Motion adjourned. Thank you.
Everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
Now.
Well, give me a call.
Bye, Con.